Here's something that will shock you. The average person thinks approximately 60,000 thoughts per day, and scientific research shows that 95% of those thoughts are exactly the same as the day before. The same worries, the same fears, the same limitations, and yet, they wonder why their life never changes. You see, my friend, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. It accepts everything you repeatedly tell it. For most people, that means they're programming failure, lack, and limitation into their lives every single day without knowing it. But what if in just 7 nights, you could reprogram that supercomputer in your mind for miracles instead? Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might be saying, Dr. Murphy, I've tried everything. I've read the books, I've said the prayers, I've visualized, I've affirmed, and nothing has worked. And I want to tell you something with all the love in my heart. The reason it hasn't worked isn't because you're doing something wrong. It's because no one ever taught you the complete formula. You see, most people have pieces of the puzzle, but pieces don't create miracles. Only the complete picture does. Perhaps you've been taught that miracles are only for special people, for saints, for the holy, for those who've somehow earned God's favor, and so you look at your life, at your mistakes, at your imperfections, and you think, I'm not good enough for a miracle. My dear friend, this is the greatest lie ever told. The infinite intelligence that created the stars, the oceans, the mountains, that same power lives in you, not in spite of who you are, but because of who you are. You are an expression of the divine, and divinity doesn't make mistakes. Or maybe you've had glimpses of this power. Perhaps once or twice, something miraculous happened, and you thought, this is it. I've figured it out. But then it faded. You tried to recreate it, but it didn't work. And you began to doubt everything. Here's what I need you to understand. Inconsistent results come from inconsistent practice. Miracles aren't accidents. They're the result of a scientific, reproducible formula. When you plant a seed, you don't get a tree one time and nothing the next. The law is exact. So is the law of mind. For years, you've been looking outside yourself, looking for the right teacher, the right ritual, the right words, the right circumstances. And I'm telling you tonight, the treasure you've been searching for isn't out there. Every wise teacher, throughout history, has told you the same thing: the kingdom of heaven is within, but no one taught you how to access it. That changes tonight. You know, I've spent over 50 years studying the laws of mind, working with thousands of people from every walk of life. I've seen businessmen on the brink of bankruptcy become millionaires. I've seen people diagnosed with incurable diseases walk out of hospitals completely healed. I've seen broken relationships restored, impossible opportunities appear, and lives completely transformed. But here's what I want you to understand. I didn't create these miracles. I simply taught people how to use the power they already had. Right now, you might be waking up every morning with anxiety in your chest. You look at your bank account with worry. You think about that relationship that's broken, or that health condition that won't heal. You pray, but your prayers feel like they're bouncing off the ceiling. You affirm, but inside, doubt is louder than your affirmations. You go to bed at night, and the last thoughts in your mind are worries about tomorrow. And then you wake up, and nothing has changed. Day after day, the same patterns, the same struggles, the same limitations. But imagine this. 7 nights from now, you wake up feeling different. There's a peace in your chest that wasn't there before. When you think about your challenges, instead of fear, there's calm knowing. You're not hoping for a miracle anymore, you're expecting it. Because you've learned to plant the seed correctly in your subconscious mind, and you know with absolute certainty that the harvest is coming. And then, in ways you never could have orchestrated with your conscious mind, the miracle appears. Not because you got lucky, because you applied the formula. Let me clear up some confusion right now. This isn't about positive thinking alone. Positive thinking is wonderful, but it's not enough. You can think positively all day while your subconscious mind, which is 1,000,000 times more powerful, is programmed for failure. This isn't about willpower. Willpower is a conscious mind tool, and the conscious mind is weak compared to the subconscious. This isn't about just visualizing, or just affirming, or just praying. It's about understanding how your mind actually works, and using that understanding scientifically. What makes this formula different is that it's complete. It addresses the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the emotional body, and the spiritual dimension all at once. It's not theory, it's practice. It's not vague, it's specific. 7 nights, 7 specific practices, each one building on the last, creating a momentum that becomes unstoppable. By the 7th night, you won't just believe miracles are possible. You will know they're inevitable. I share this with you not as a teacher standing above you, but as a fellow traveler who has walked through the darkness and found the light. I know what it's like to feel forgotten by God. I know what it's like to wonder if there's something wrong with you, if you're being punished, if you're the exception to the rule. And I'm here to tell you, you're not. The same infinite intelligence that takes care of the birds of the air and the lilies of the field takes care of you. You just need to learn the language it speaks. And that language is feeling, believing, and accepting. Now, I'm going to ask something of you. For the next 2.5 hours, I need you to be fully present. Not half listening while you scroll on your phone. Not playing this in the background while you do other things. Give me your full attention. And I promise you, by the end of this, you will have everything you need to transform your life in 7 nights. And then, after you watch this, I need you to commit to actually doing the practices. Not just understanding them intellectually, but doing them. Because understanding doesn't create miracles. Application does. Let me tell you about a man named Thomas. He came into my office one Tuesday afternoon. I'll never forget it, and he literally threw a stack of bills on my desk. Red letters everywhere. Final notice. Legal action pending. He built a successful business for 15 years, and in 6 months, it all collapsed. The economy had shifted. His biggest client went bankrupt, owing him a fortune, and suddenly he was drowning. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was watching his wife cry at night when she thought he couldn't hear her. The worst part was his 8-year-old daughter asking why they had to move from their house. The worst part was the shame he felt every time he saw his father, who had warned him about expanding too fast. Thomas sat in that chair across from me, and he said something I'll never forget. He said, "Dr. Murphy, I've prayed more in the last 6 months than I have in my entire life. I get on my knees every night. I beg God to help me. And nothing changes. In fact, it gets worse every day. Either God isn't listening, or I'm being punished for something I did wrong." I looked at him and I said, "Thomas, God is always listening. The question is, what are you telling him?" He looked confused, so I explained. When you get on your knees and beg, you're coming from a consciousness of lack and desperation. Every prayer of "please help me, I'm failing, I'm losing everything" is actually programming your subconscious mind with the very thing you don't want. You're affirming poverty, not prosperity. You're declaring failure, not success. I could see the light starting to dawn in his eyes, but there was still doubt there. So I gave him the formula, the 7-night practice. And I told him, "Don't believe me. Just do it. 7 nights. That's all I ask." The first night, I had him write down every negative belief he had about money, about himself, about his situation. And my friend, he filled 3 pages. "I'm a failure. I'm not smart enough. The economy is against me. I always mess things up. God is punishing me. I don't deserve success." On and on. Then I had him burn those pages in his fireplace and go to bed affirming, "My mind is now clean and receptive to miracles." The second night, he defined his miracle with absolute clarity. Not "I want to be out of debt," but "I am now financially free. My business is thriving. Money flows to me easily and abundantly. I feel peaceful, confident, and grateful." He read this 3 times, then imagined it as real for 5 minutes, then fell asleep repeating, "This or something better is now mine." The third night was the feeling rehearsal. He created a scene in his mind, a simple scene. He imagined himself at his bank, making a large deposit, Seeing the balance in his account grow, he felt the relief, the joy, the peace. He looped this scene over and over for 15 minutes, and when the feeling became so real he almost cried. He said thank you 3 times, and fell asleep in that feeling. By the 4th night, the doubts came roaring back. He told me later that he woke up that morning and the first thought was, "This is stupid. Nothing's changed. I'm still broke. I'm wasting my time." But that's exactly why we have night 4, the reversal technique. He wrote down every doubt, then wrote the exact opposite. "This is stupid," became, "This is the most intelligent thing I've ever done." Nothing's changed, became, "Everything is changing right now at the invisible level." He stood up, shoulders back, chin up, and declared these reversals with conviction for 5 minutes. And something shifted. Night 5. He lived as if. He walked differently. He talked differently. Instead of avoiding people because of his shame, he held his head high. Instead of checking his bank account with fear 20 times a day, he checked it once with gratitude for what was there. He treated himself like a successful businessman, not a failure. And something strange happened that day. He got a phone call from a company he'd never heard of. They'd seen his work years ago and wanted to hire him for a project. Not a huge project, but enough to give him hope. Night 6 was gratitude. He listed 20 things he was grateful for: his health, his family, his experience, his skills, his home even though he might lose it. Then he listed 10 things he was grateful for from his miracle, as if they'd already happened. "I'm so grateful that I am financially free. I'm so grateful that my business is thriving. I'm so grateful for the abundance that flows to me." He felt waves of genuine gratitude, and he went to sleep saying, "I am grateful for miracles." On the 7th night, he released it. He read his miracle statement one final time, then said aloud, "I have planted the seed. I now release this to the infinite intelligence within me. It is done. I trust completely. I let go." He put the paper in a drawer and went to sleep in peace. 3 weeks later, Thomas called me. He was crying. The company that had contacted him on day 5, their project expanded. But more than that, one of his old clients, one he thought was gone forever, reached out. They'd secured new funding and wanted to restart their contract, and they wanted to pay him for the work they'd owed him from before. Within 2 months, Thomas wasn't just out of debt, he was more prosperous than he'd ever been. But here's what Thomas told me that matters most. "Dr. Murphy, the money is wonderful, but what really changed was me. I'm not the same person I was 7 nights ago. I don't live in fear anymore. I know now that I'm connected to an infinite source. I know that my thoughts create my reality. Even if I lost it all tomorrow, I'd build it back, because I know the secret now." You see, my friend, Thomas's miracle wasn't the money appearing. The miracle was the transformation of his consciousness. The money was just the effect. The cause was the change in his mind. Now let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah was given 6 months to live. The doctors said it with such authority, such finality, as if they were speaking for God himself. Aggressive cancer, they said. Stage 4, they said. Spread throughout her body, they said. And Sarah, like most people, accepted their verdict as truth. She went home that day and started planning her funeral. She wrote letters to her children to be opened after she died. She gave away her belongings. She resigned herself to death, and every night she'd lie in bed thinking about dying, imagining the cancer spreading, seeing herself getting weaker and weaker. Then one day, about 3 weeks after her diagnosis, a friend gave her one of my books. Sarah told me later she almost threw it away. What good is positive thinking when you're dying? She thought. But something made her open it. And she read something that changed everything. She read, "Your body is made up of millions of cells that are constantly dying and being replaced. The body you have today is not the same body you had a year ago. Every atom has been replaced. So the question is, what are you building with your thoughts?" Sarah realized with a shock that she'd been building disease. Every thought about the cancer was feeding it. Every image of herself, dying, was programming her subconscious to create that reality. The doctors had planted a seed in her mind, and she'd been watering it every single day with fear and acceptance. She came to see me, and I'll tell you, my friend, She was frail. She'd lost weight. Her skin was gray, but her eyes, there was a spark in her eyes that told me she was ready to fight. Not with her body, but with her mind. I gave her the 7-night formula, but I adjusted it specifically for healing. The first night, she wrote down and burned every belief about her illness, every acceptance of the doctor's verdict, every image of death. She wrote, "I am dying. I am sick. My body is diseased. This is incurable. I only have 6 months." And she burned it all. Then she went to bed affirming, "My body knows how to heal itself. Perfect health is now mine." The second night, she defined her miracle. "I am vibrantly healthy. Every cell in my body radiates with life and vitality. I am cancer-free. I feel strong, energized, and grateful. My doctors are amazed at my recovery." She read this 3 times and fell asleep repeating it. The third night, she created a simple scene. She imagined herself back at the doctor's office, and the doctor was looking at her test results with shock and confusion, saying, "I don't understand it. The cancer is gone. It's completely gone." She felt his amazement. She felt her own joy and relief. She felt the tears running down her face. She looped this scene over and over, and when the feeling became overwhelming, she said thank you and fell asleep. Now, you need to understand something. Sarah's family thought she was crazy. Her husband begged her to focus on being realistic and making the most of the time she had left. Her doctor told her that false hope was cruel. But Sarah knew something they didn't. She knew that the body follows the mind. She knew that if she could change her consciousness, her body would have no choice but to follow. By night 4, the fear was intense. She woke up with pain, and the first thought was, "See? It's not working. You're still sick. You're going to die." But she'd been prepared for this. She immediately reversed every thought. "I'm healing right now. Every cell in my body is being renewed. Perfect health is manifesting." She stood in front of the mirror, and despite the physical evidence, she declared these truths with absolute conviction. Night 5, she lived as if she were already healed. She went for a short walk, even though she was tired, because that's what healthy people do. She ate nourishing food with gratitude, thanking her body for using it to build healthy cells. She laughed with her children, making plans for the future. And her husband noticed something. There was color in her cheeks that hadn't been there in weeks. Night 6 was powerful. She listed everything she was grateful for about her body. Her heart that kept beating, her lungs that kept breathing, her immune system that was fighting right now. Then she listed everything she was grateful for from her healed state. "I'm so grateful that I am cancer-free. I'm so grateful for my doctor's amazement. I'm so grateful for my energy and vitality." Tears of genuine gratitude flowed, and she felt something shift deep inside her. On night 7, she released it. "I have planted the seed of perfect health. I now release this to the infinite intelligence that knows how to heal every cell. It is done. I trust completely." And she let go of the outcome, living each day in faith, rather than fear. Now, I'm not going to tell you that Sarah's cancer disappeared overnight. The physical manifestation of any miracle takes time. But what happened over the next several months defied medical explanation. Her next scan showed the cancer had stopped spreading. The scan after that showed it was shrinking. 6 months after her death sentence, Sarah was in remission. A year later, she was cancer-free. Her doctors called it spontaneous remission. Sarah called it a miracle. I call it the law of mind and action. Sarah is alive today, 15 years later, and she'll tell anyone who'll listen, "I didn't cure my cancer. I changed my consciousness, and my body healed itself." There's a power within us that's greater than any disease, but we have to learn to work with it, not against it. Let me tell you about Mary. Mary had been alone for 12 years after her husband passed away. Not just without a partner. I mean soul-crushingly, devastatingly alone. She'd go days without speaking to another person. She lived in a small apartment, and her world had shrunk to the size of her living room. She told me she felt invisible, like the world had forgotten she existed. The loneliness wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was the belief that had taken root in her mind. I'm too old for love. I'm 67 years old. My life is over. I had my chance at happiness, and now I just need to wait to die. Can you imagine living with that thought every single day? Mary came to one of my lectures because her daughter dragged her there. She sat in the back row, with her arms crossed, clearly not wanting to be there. But something I said that night penetrated her defenses. I said, age is a state of consciousness, not a number on a calendar. You're as young as you believe you are, and love knows no age limit. After the lecture, she waited until everyone else had left, then came up to me with tears in her eyes. Dr. Murphy, she said, do you really believe that? Do you really believe someone like me could find love again? I looked at her and said, Mary, let me ask you something. Do you believe God's love has an expiration date? Do you believe the universe looks at your birth certificate before deciding whether you deserve joy? She shook her head. Then why would you accept that belief for yourself? I gave her the 7-night formula, and I want you to understand something important here. Mary's miracle wasn't about finding a man. It was about finding herself again, about reconnecting with life, about opening her heart to love in all its forms. But the universe had a beautiful surprise waiting for her. Night 1, Mary wrote down all her beliefs about being too old, too set in her ways, too damaged by grief. She wrote about her fear of being hurt again, her belief that she didn't deserve happiness, her conviction that her life was essentially over. She burned those pages, and she told me later that watching them turn to ash felt like a weight lifting off her chest. Night 2. She defined her miracle, but it was hard for her. She'd been alone so long she couldn't imagine what it would feel like to be loved again. So I told her, don't focus on a person. Focus on the feeling. How would you feel if you were deeply loved? She wrote, I am surrounded by love. I feel cherished, appreciated, and seen. I laugh every day. I have meaningful connections. I feel alive and joyful. Notice, she didn't say I have a husband or I'm married again. She focused on the feeling, the essence of what she truly wanted. Night 3 was the feeling rehearsal, and this is where Mary struggled at first. She tried to imagine a scene, but her rational mind kept interfering. This is ridiculous. You're a silly old woman imagining fairy tales. But I'd prepared her for this. I told her to start small, so she imagined a simple scene. She's having coffee with a friend, and they're laughing together, really laughing, and she feels warm and happy and connected. That's all. Just that simple scene. She looped it over and over, and gradually the feeling became real. She felt the warmth in her chest, the joy, the connection, and she fell asleep in that feeling. Night 4, the doubts came hard. She woke up in her empty apartment, and the silence was deafening. Nothing's changed. Nothing's going to change. You're kidding yourself. But she'd learned the reversal technique. She stood up, looked in the mirror, and said, I am changing right now. I am opening to love. I am becoming magnetic to joy and connection. She said it until she believed it. Night 5 was transformative for Mary. Living as if. She asked herself, how would I behave if I felt loved and connected? And the answer came. I'd take care of myself. I'd dress nicely. I'd go out into the world. I'd smile at people. I'd be open. So that's what she did. She put on a nice dress, something she hadn't done in years. She went to a coffee shop instead of making coffee alone at home. She smiled at the barista. She sat in the park and read a book. Small things, but they were huge shifts for Mary. And something happened that day. A woman sitting on the next bench commented on the book Mary was reading. They started talking. They talked for an hour. The woman invited Mary to a book club that met every week. Mary almost said no. Her old pattern would have been to retreat, to say she was busy, to stay safe in her isolation. But she heard my voice in her head, live as if. So she said yes. Night 6, gratitude poured out of her. She was grateful for her health, for her daughter, for the beautiful day, for the new friend she'd made, for the feeling of possibility that was growing in her chest. And she was grateful, for the love that was already in her life and the love that was coming. She felt it so strongly that she cried tears of joy. Night 7, she released it. She'd planted the seed of connection and love. Now she trusted the universe to bring it to fruition, in whatever form was best for her. She let go of any specific picture of what it should look like and simply remained open. Now here's what happened over the next several months. Mary joined that book club. Through the book club, she met a group of women who became dear friends. She was no longer invisible. She was no longer alone. But the universe wasn't done. At the book club, there was a man, a widower named George, who'd been invited by his sister. He was 72, kind, gentle, and just as lonely as Mary had been. They started talking after the meetings. Then they started having coffee together. Then dinner. 6 months after Mary's 7 nights, George asked her to marry him. At her wedding, Mary pulled me aside and said, "Dr. Murphy, I didn't just get a husband. I got my life back. I got myself back. That's the real miracle." You see, my friend, when Mary changed her consciousness from "I'm too old and alone" to "I am loved and connected," the universe had no choice but to reflect that back to her. First in friendships, then in romance, but most importantly, in how she felt about herself. Let me share another story with you. And this one might be hard to hear, but it's important. A father came to me about his son. His name was Richard, and his son's name was David. David was 26 years old, addicted to drugs, living on the streets, and wanted nothing to do with his family. Richard had tried everything: rehab programs that David walked out of, interventions that turned into screaming matches, tough love where he cut David off completely, enabling where he gave him money that went straight to drugs, therapy, prayer groups, everything. Richard sat in my office, and this strong, successful businessman was broken. "Dr. Murphy," he said, "I've lost my son. I see him sometimes, when I drive through certain parts of the city. He looks like a skeleton. He looks like he's dying. And I can't save him. I've tried everything, and I can't save him." I said to Richard, "You're right. You can't save him. But you can change your consciousness of him." Richard looked at me like I was crazy. "What does that mean? How does that help him? He needs rehab. He needs intervention. He needs—" I interrupted him gently. "Richard, listen to me. Every night, what do you think about before you fall asleep?" He said, "I think about David. I see him on the streets. I imagine him overdosing. I worry about getting a call from the police saying he's dead. I can't help it. It's all I think about." "And there's your problem," I told him. "Every single night, you're using the most powerful creative force in the universe, your imagination, to create the very thing you don't want. You're programming your subconscious mind with images of David, sick, dying, lost, and the subconscious doesn't know the difference between what you want and what you don't want. It only knows what you're showing it. You're praying for him to get better with your words, but you're praying for him to get worse with your imagination." I could see this was a hard truth for Richard to accept. So I explained it more. You cannot change another person directly. You cannot force David to get clean, but you can change your consciousness of David, and when you do, something miraculous happens. David will begin to reflect your changed consciousness. It's a law. It's as reliable as gravity. I gave Richard a modified version of the 7-night practice, specifically for changing his consciousness of another person. The first night, Richard had to write down and burn every negative image, every fear, every worst-case scenario he'd been carrying about David. It was painful for him, but necessary. He wrote page after page: fears of David dying, David never recovering, David hating him forever, David suffering. He burned them all and went to bed affirming, "My son is whole, healthy, and free." The second night, Richard defined his miracle consciousness of David. Not "I want David to get clean," but David is clean, healthy, and happy. David is fulfilling his purpose. David is surrounded by love and support. David is free from addiction. Richard read this 3 times and fell asleep repeating it. The third night was the most important. Richard created a scene that implied David's recovery. He imagined getting a phone call from David, and David's voice was clear and strong and sober, saying, "Dad, I'm okay. I'm getting help. I want to see you." Richard imagined this scene over and over, and he let himself feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude. He let himself cry tears of happiness for something that hadn't happened yet in the physical world, but was absolutely real in consciousness. And he fell asleep in that feeling. Now, Richard's family thought he'd given up. His wife said, "How can you sleep peacefully when our son is out there suffering?" Richard tried to explain, but they didn't understand. They thought he was in denial. But Richard wasn't in denial. He was in a different consciousness. By night 4, Richard's old fears tried to reassert themselves. He drove past one of David's usual spots and didn't see him, and immediately his mind went to, "He's dead. He's overdosed. It's too late." But Richard had learned the reversal. He immediately said, "No. David is safe. David is protected. David is being guided to his healing right now." He said it with conviction, and the fear dissolved. Night 5, Richard lived as if. He started cleaning out David's old room, not as a sad memorial, but in preparation for his return. He bought groceries that David liked. He acted like a father whose son was coming home soon. His wife thought he'd lost his mind, but Richard understood something she didn't yet. He was living in the end result, and that was creating it. Night 6, gratitude. Richard listed everything he was grateful for about David, not David as he was on the streets, but David's true essence. His intelligence, his sensitivity, his creativity, his good heart. Then he expressed gratitude for David's healing, as if it had already happened. "Thank you that David is clean. Thank you that David is healthy. Thank you that David is home." And the gratitude felt real, not fake. Night 7, Richard released it completely. "I have done my part. I have changed my consciousness. I now release David to the infinite intelligence that loves him even more than I do. I trust completely. It is done." And Richard let go of the outcome, continuing his new consciousness but without desperation or anxiety. 3 weeks after Richard completed his 7 nights, his phone rang. It was David. His voice was shaky, but he was sober. He said, "Dad, I don't know what happened. Something shifted in me. I woke up one morning and I was just done. Done with the drugs, done with the streets, done with that life. I called a rehab place, and they had a bed available. I've been here for 2 weeks. Dad, I'm getting better. Can you come see me?" Richard drove straight there. And when he saw David, yes, David was thin and tired, but there was light in his eyes that hadn't been there in years. David completed the program. He's been sober now for 7 years. He has a job he loves, he's engaged to a wonderful woman, and he has a relationship with his father that's stronger than it's ever been. David told me something interesting when I met him later. He said, "I don't know how to explain this, but about 3 weeks before I called my dad, I started feeling different. Like something in the atmosphere around me changed. Like I was being pulled toward recovery instead of pushed toward death. I felt like my dad believed in me again, even though we hadn't talked in months. That feeling gave me the strength to reach out for help." You see what happened there? Richard couldn't force David to change. But when Richard changed his consciousness of David, David felt it. It's a law. When you see someone as healed, as whole, as free, you're creating an atmosphere that makes it easier for them to become that. You're removing your own mental obstacles that were actually blocking their transformation. Now let me tell you one more story before we move into the deeper teachings. This is about a young woman named Jennifer. She was 23 years old, working 2 jobs, waitressing during the day and cleaning offices at night, barely making rent, exhausted all the time, and she had a dream. She wanted to become a doctor. But when she told people this dream, they laughed. They said, "Jennifer, be realistic. You're 23, you didn't do well in school, you have no money for tuition, you have no family support, you'd have to start over completely. It's impossible." And Jennifer almost believed them. She almost let the dream die. But something in her wouldn't let go. She came to one of my lectures, and afterwards, she approached me with tears streaming down her face. "Dr. Murphy," she said, "I want to be a doctor more than anything in the world. But everyone says, it's impossible. Is it really impossible? I looked at her and said, Jennifer, the only thing that's impossible is what you believe is impossible. If you can imagine it, if you can feel it as real, then the universe will find a way to make it happen. The question isn't whether it's possible. The question is, do you believe it's possible? She said, I don't know. I want to believe it. And I said, that's enough. We'll start with want to believe and build from there. I gave Jennifer the 7-night formula, and I want you to pay attention to this because it shows how the formula works, even when circumstances seem completely impossible. Night 1, Jennifer wrote down every limiting belief. I'm not smart enough. I'm too old to start. I don't have money. I don't have support. I'm just a waitress. People like me don't become doctors. It's too late. It's impossible. She burned every single one, and went to bed affirming, all things are possible to those who believe, and I believe. Night 2. Jennifer defined her miracle with absolute clarity and specificity. I am a doctor. I graduated from medical school with honors. I help people heal every day. I am proud of myself. I feel fulfilled and purposeful. I am financially abundant. I proved everyone wrong. She read this 3 times and fell asleep imagining herself in a white coat, stethoscope around her neck, smiling. Night 3 was powerful for Jennifer. She created a simple scene. She imagined herself at her medical school graduation. She could feel the weight of the diploma in her hands. She could hear the applause. She could see her name. Dr. Jennifer Martinez. She felt the pride, the accomplishment, the joy. She looped this scene over and over, and she cried tears of joy for something that hadn't happened yet. And she fell asleep in that feeling of accomplishment. Now, night 4 was brutal for Jennifer. She woke up, went to her waitressing job, got yelled at by a rude customer, went to her cleaning job, came home at midnight exhausted and broke, and her mind screamed at her, who are you kidding? You're delusional. This is your life. Accept it. But Jennifer had learned the reversal. She stood in her tiny bathroom, looked in the mirror, and said, I am becoming a doctor right now. Every step I take is leading me there. The universe is arranging everything for my benefit. This is temporary. My dream is permanent. She said it until she believed it. Night 5, Jennifer lived as if she was already on the path to becoming a doctor. She went to the library on her day off and read medical journals. She started talking to herself like someone who was going to medical school. She carried herself with the confidence of someone who knew where she was going. And something interesting happened. One of her regular customers at the restaurant, a woman she'd served dozens of times, really looked at her for the first time and asked, What's different about you? You seem different. Jennifer smiled and said, I'm going to be a doctor. She said it with such conviction that the woman believed her. Night 6, gratitude flowed. Jennifer was grateful for her health, for her determination, for the dream itself, for the strength to keep going. And then she expressed gratitude for what hadn't manifested yet. Thank you that I am accepted into medical school. Thank you for the scholarship. Thank you for the support that's coming. Thank you for my future patients. Thank you for the miracle that's unfolding. She felt genuine gratitude, and it filled her with energy. Night 7. Jennifer released it. I have planted the seed. I have done my part. I now trust the infinite intelligence within me to orchestrate everything for my highest good. It is done. I let go. And she went to sleep in peace. Now, what happened next seemed like a series of coincidences, but you and I know there are no coincidences. 2 days later, that customer from the restaurant, the one who'd asked what was different, came back and left Jennifer a note with her bill. It said, I don't know why I feel compelled to do this, but I'm a professor at the university. If you're serious about medical school, come see me. I think I can help. Jennifer went. The professor looked at her grades from years ago and said, These aren't great. But I see something in you. I believe you. Let's make a plan. The professor helped her enroll in community college to retake science courses. She introduced Jennifer to a pre-med program for non-traditional students. She helped her apply for scholarships and grants. Jennifer didn't even know existed. But it wasn't easy. Jennifer worked her 2 jobs and went to school. She studied on the bus, during lunch breaks, late into the night. It took her 3 years to complete her undergraduate requirements, and everyone thought she'd give up. But she didn't. Because every night, before she fell asleep, she returned to her practice. She imagined herself as Dr. Jennifer Martinez. She felt it. She believed it. 4 years after her 7 nights, Jennifer was accepted into medical school. Full scholarship. The admissions committee said her personal statement about overcoming obstacles and her absolute certainty that this was her calling was the most compelling they'd ever read. 8 years after her 7 nights, Jennifer graduated from medical school. 12 years after her 7 nights, she's a practicing physician with her own practice, helping people every single day. Jennifer told me something beautiful. She said, "Dr. Murphy, the miracle wasn't getting into medical school. The miracle was becoming the person who could get into medical school. Those 7 nights didn't change my circumstances, they changed me, and when I changed, everything else had to change too." Now, you've heard these stories, and maybe you're thinking, "That's wonderful for them, Dr. Murphy. But what about me? What about my situation?" Well, my dear friend, that's exactly what we're going to cover now. You see, these aren't random coincidences. Every single one of these miracles followed the same invisible formula, and I'm about to break that formula down for you, piece by piece, so clearly that even a child could understand and apply it. First, you must understand that you have 2 minds, not one. You have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind, and they are completely different in how they function. This is the foundation of everything I'm going to teach you. If you understand nothing else, understand this. Your conscious mind is like a gardener. It chooses what seeds to plant. It decides what thoughts to accept and what thoughts to reject. It has the power of reasoning, logic, and choice. It's the mind you're using right now to listen to me, to evaluate what I'm saying, to decide if you believe it or not. The conscious mind is the watchman at the gate. Your subconscious mind is like the soil in which those seeds are planted. It doesn't reason. It doesn't argue. It doesn't care if the seed is a rose or a weed. It simply accepts whatever is planted and grows it. It takes whatever the conscious mind impresses upon it and brings it into physical manifestation. The subconscious mind is the creative power, the builder, the doer. Now here's what most people don't understand. Your subconscious mind is operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It never sleeps. It never takes a vacation. Right now, at this very moment, it's building your tomorrow based on the thoughts and feelings you're having today. And for most people, that's a terrifying thought, because most people's thoughts are negative, fearful, and limited. Think about it this way. Imagine your conscious mind is a ship's captain, and your subconscious mind is the crew. The captain gives orders, and the crew follows them without question. If the captain says, "Steer toward the iceberg," the crew doesn't say, "Are you sure, Captain? That seems dangerous." They just do it. They steer toward the iceberg. That's what most people are doing with their minds. They're steering toward the iceberg: poverty, sickness, loneliness, failure, and then they wonder why they hit it. The subconscious mind doesn't know that you don't want to hit the iceberg. It only knows that's where you're pointing. Or think of it this way. The conscious mind is the architect who draws the blueprints. The subconscious mind is the builder who follows the blueprints exactly. If the architect draws a blueprint for a shack, the builder doesn't say, "Oh, I think you meant to design a mansion." No. The builder builds a shack. Perfectly. Exactly, according to the blueprint. Your life right now is a perfect reflection of the blueprints you've been giving your subconscious mind. If you don't like what's been built, you need to change the blueprints. And that's what the 7-night formula does. It helps you redraw the blueprints. Now, here's another way to think about it. Your conscious mind is a computer programmer, and your subconscious mind is a computer. The programmer writes code, and the computer runs that code flawlessly. If the programmer writes code for a virus, the computer runs the virus. It doesn't judge. It doesn't say, "This seems harmful." It just executes the code. For most people, They've been programming their subconscious with virus after virus thoughts of limitation, fear, unworthiness, impossibility, and then they're surprised when their life crashes. But the subconscious is just running the program it was given. Here's what you need to understand. Your conscious mind is weak. It can hold only one thought at a time. It gets tired. It gets distracted. But your subconscious mind is infinitely powerful. It controls every function of your body right now, your heartbeat, your breathing, your digestion without you having to think about it. It has access to infinite intelligence. It knows how to heal your body, how to attract opportunities, how to solve any problem you face. The question is, what are you programming it with? What seeds are you planting? What blueprints are you giving it? What code are you writing? Most people spend their entire lives unconscious of this process. They let random thoughts, usually negative thoughts, drift through their conscious mind and sink into their subconscious, where they take root and grow. And then these people live lives of quiet desperation, never knowing they had the power to change everything all along. But you're here. You're listening to this, which means you're waking up. You're becoming conscious of the process. And once you're conscious of it, you can control it. You can become the deliberate gardener, the intentional architect, the skilled programmer. Now let me tell you the golden key, the secret that changes everything. Your subconscious mind responds to feeling, not to words alone. This is so important. I'm going to say it again. Your subconscious mind responds to feeling, not to words alone. You can say I am wealthy 1,000 times, but if you feel poor while you're saying it, you're programming poverty. You can affirm I am healthy all day long, but if you feel sick while you're affirming it, you're programming sickness. You can declare I am loved until you're blue in the face, but if you feel unloved, you're programming loneliness. Why? Because your subconscious mind speaks the language of emotion. Words are the language of the conscious mind. Feelings are the language of the subconscious mind. When you impress a feeling upon your subconscious, it accepts that as an order and immediately goes to work to make it manifest in your physical reality. This is why affirmations alone don't work for most people. They're saying the words, but they don't believe the words, they don't feel the words, and so nothing changes. The words are just noise. The feeling is the power. Think about it this way. Imagine you're placing an order at a restaurant. You say to the waiter, I'll have the steak. But while you're saying it, you're feeling and imagining the fish. What's the waiter going to bring you? The fish, because that's what you really ordered. Not with your words, but with your feeling and your imagination. Your subconscious is the waiter. It brings you whatever you feel and imagine most consistently. If you say I want abundance, but you feel lack, it brings you lack. If you say I want health, but you feel sickness, it brings you sickness. If you say I want love, but you feel unworthiness, it brings you unworthiness. So the question becomes, how do I generate the feeling of something I don't have yet? How do I feel wealthy when my bank account is empty? How do I feel healthy when my body hurts? How do I feel loved when I'm alone? And the answer is, through imagination, through deliberately creating a mental scene that implies your wish fulfilled, and dwelling in that scene until the feeling becomes real. This is what we did with Thomas, with Sarah, with Mary, with Richard and David, with Jennifer. They all learned to generate the feeling first, and then the physical manifestation had to follow. Here's the deep spiritual truth behind this. Feeling is the soul's language. God doesn't speak English or Spanish or Chinese. God doesn't hear your words. God responds to the vibration of your consciousness, and that vibration is determined by your dominant feeling. When you pray in words while feeling desperate and needy, God hears desperation and need, and sends you more situations to feel desperate and needy about. When you pray with feelings of gratitude and fulfillment, God hears fulfillment, and sends you more to be fulfilled and grateful about. This is why Jesus said, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Not believe that you will receive it someday. Believe that you have received it already. Present tense. Feel it now. That's the secret. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your vibrational frequency. And your vibrational frequency is determined by your feelings. When you change your feelings, you change your frequency. When you change your frequency, you change what you attract. It's a law. It's as reliable as gravity. This brings us to a crucial principle that many people misunderstand. It's what I call living in the end result. Jesus taught it. Neville Goddard taught it. Every great spiritual teacher throughout history has taught it. But few people understand what it really means. Living in the end result means assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled right now, not hoping for it, not wishing for it, not praying for it to happen someday, assuming it has already happened and feeling accordingly. It's like this. Imagine you ordered a package online. You got the confirmation email. You know it's coming. You're not worried about whether it will arrive. You're not checking the door every 5 minutes in panic. You're just going about your day with the calm knowing that your package is on its way. That's living in the end result. But most people pray like someone who ordered a package but doesn't believe it's actually coming. They keep placing the same order over and over. They keep checking frantically. They worry it got lost. They imagine it not arriving. And all of that energy actually blocks the delivery. When you live in the end result, you're not concerned with the how. You're not trying to figure out the path. You're not manipulating circumstances or forcing doors open. You're simply assuming the wish fulfilled and letting the universe orchestrate the details. This is where most people get tripped up. They say, "But Dr. Murphy, I don't know how it could possibly happen. I can't see the way. It seems impossible." And I say, of course you can't see the way. Your conscious mind is limited. It only knows what it's experienced before, but your subconscious mind, connected to infinite intelligence, knows millions of ways you've never thought of. Your job isn't to figure out the how. Your job is to claim the end result and trust the process. Think about Thomas and his business. He didn't know that a random company would call him. He didn't know his old client would come back. He couldn't have orchestrated those circumstances with his conscious mind. But when he changed his consciousness to "I am financially abundant," the universe created what I call a bridge of incidents, a series of events that led him from here to there. It's like when you decide to drive across the country. You don't need to see the entire route all at once. You just need to see the next few feet illuminated by your headlights. You drive in faith that the road continues, even though you can't see it all. That's living in the end result. Here's another way to understand it. Think about a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You don't worry about how the seed will become a tree. You don't try to force the process. You just plant it, water it, and trust that nature knows what to do. You live in the end result, the tree, while the seed is still underground. That's what you're doing with your desires. You plant the seed in your subconscious through feeling and imagination. You water it with daily practices. And you trust that the creative power within you knows how to bring it to manifestation. You live in the feeling of the harvest, while the seed is still germinating. But here's what most people do instead. They plant the seed, then dig it up the next day to see if anything's happening. They say, "It's not working. Nothing's changed." Then they plant a different seed. Then they dig that one up. Then they plant another one. They're so busy planting and digging and doubting that nothing ever has a chance to grow. Patience and faith are required. Not blind faith, but faith based on understanding the law. When you understand that feeling creates reality, when you understand that the subconscious must manifest what is consistently impressed upon it, then you can have faith in the process, even when you don't see immediate results. Now, let me teach you about the prayer of reception versus the prayer of desperation. This is life-changing when you truly understand it. Most people pray the prayer of desperation. They get on their knees and they beg, "Please God, help me. I'm suffering. I need this. I'm not worthy, but please have mercy on me." And with every word of that prayer, they're reinforcing their lack, their unworthiness, their separation from God. That prayer actually pushes away what you want. Why? Because it comes from and creates a consciousness of need, of poverty, of being separate from the source. And the universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your consciousness. So a desperate prayer creates more desperate circumstances. The prayer of reception is completely different. It's the prayer of thanksgiving for what you desire as if you already have it. Thank you, God, that I am financially abundant. Thank you that I am healthy and strong. Thank you that I am loved and cherished. Thank you that my miracle is already mine. Do you see the difference? One prayer comes from lack. The other comes from fullness. One prayer says, I don't have it. The other says, I have it. And whichever consciousness you pray from, that's what manifests. Think about it this way. If you go to a store, and you say to the clerk, please, please, I'm begging you, I hope you'll give me this item. I'm not sure I deserve it, but I really need it. What message are you sending? You're sending the message that you don't have the means to purchase it, that you're not a legitimate customer. But if you walk in with your money and simply say, thank you, I'll take this, you're operating from a completely different consciousness, the consciousness of someone who has the right and the means to purchase. The universe is that store. When you pray from desperation, you're announcing that you don't have what it takes. When you pray from gratitude and reception, you're announcing that you do, and the universe responds accordingly. This is why I teach people to pray, thank you that my miracle is already accomplished in consciousness. I now accept it as mine. Not please give me, not I hope, but thank you and I accept. These words shift your entire consciousness from seeking to receiving. Here's the deep spiritual truth. The universe is not withholding anything from you. God is not sitting up there deciding who deserves miracles and who doesn't. Everything already exists in the realm of consciousness. Your job is not to get God to give you something. Your job is to accept what's already yours. It's like this. Imagine you're sitting in a dark room. The light switch is on the wall, but you don't know it's there. So you sit in darkness, praying for light. Please God, send me light. I'm suffering in this darkness. But the light is already available. You just need to find the switch and turn it on. Your subconscious mind is that light switch. When you impress upon it the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you're turning on the light. The light was always there. You just needed to activate it. So stop praying like you're trying to convince God to give you something. Start praying like you're accepting what's already been prepared for you. Because it has. Every desire you have exists first as a possibility in consciousness. Your job is to claim it, feel it, and let it manifest. Now, let me tell you something that's going to sound strange but is absolutely true. Your subconscious mind is most receptive in two specific states. Just before you fall asleep, and just as you wake up. This is when the doorway between your conscious and subconscious mind is most open. This is when your conscious mind, the watchman, the gatekeeper, is drowsy and relaxed, and impressions can slip past it directly into the subconscious. Scientists call this the alpha state. Your brain waves slow down. You're in that twilight zone between waking and sleeping. And in this state, you're incredibly suggestible. Whatever thought you hold in your mind during this time sinks deeply into your subconscious and begins to manifest. This is why your last thoughts before sleep are so critical. If you go to bed worrying, rehearsing your problems, imagining worst-case scenarios, you're programming your subconscious for failure all night long. While you sleep, your subconscious is working tirelessly to manifest whatever you impressed upon it. If you impressed fear, it manifests fearful circumstances. If you impressed lack, it manifests lack. But if you go to bed feeling your wish fulfilled, imagining your miracle is already accomplished, dwelling in gratitude and peace, you're programming your subconscious for success all night long. While you sleep, it's arranging circumstances, attracting people, creating opportunities to bring your desire into physical manifestation. This is why every single one of the 7 nights in our formula includes a specific practice before sleep, because that's when the magic happens. That's when you have direct access to the creative power within you. The same is true for the early morning. Just as you wake up, before you check your phone, before you start thinking about your to-do list, before you engage with the world, there's a brief window where you're still in that alpha state. Use it. Spend those first few moments affirming you're good, feeling your miracle is real, setting your consciousness for the day. Here's something else about the subconscious mind. It learns through repetition. Just like learning to ride a bike or play an instrument, the subconscious needs consistent repetition to form new patterns. You wouldn't practice piano once and expect to be a master. You practice daily, and gradually, the neural pathways form, and what was once difficult becomes automatic. The same is true for reprogramming your subconscious mind. One night of affirming abundance doesn't override 40 years of poverty consciousness. But 7 nights of consistent practice begins to create a new groove. 30 days of consistent practice creates a new habit. 90 days of consistent practice creates a new identity. This is why I give you a 7-night formula as a starting point. 7 nights is enough to begin the shift, to break the old pattern, to plant the new seed. But the real transformation comes when you continue the practice beyond the 7 nights. When it becomes your new way of living, think about water dripping on a rock. 1 drop does nothing. 100 drops do nothing. But thousands of drops, over time, create a groove in the rock. That's what you're doing with repetition. You're creating new grooves in your consciousness. You're establishing new neural pathways. You're building a new habitual way of thinking and feeling. And here's the beautiful thing. Once the new pattern is established, it becomes automatic. You don't have to force it anymore. Just like you don't have to think about how to walk or how to breathe, you won't have to think about feeling abundant or healthy or loved. It becomes your natural state. Now let me teach you about being the watchman at the gate. This is one of the most important practices I can give you. Your conscious mind has one supreme responsibility: to stand guard at the door of your subconscious mind and monitor what enters. Every thought, every image, every feeling that you allow to pass through your conscious mind sinks into your subconscious and becomes part of your manifested reality. So you must be vigilant. You must be selective. You must be the guardian of your own mind. But most people have abandoned their post. They let every negative thought, every fearful image, every limiting belief, march right through the door and into their subconscious without challenge. They watch the news and absorb fear. They listen to gossip and absorb judgment. They engage in negative self-talk and absorb unworthiness. And then they wonder why their life is a mess. Being the watchman means becoming aware of your thoughts. It means catching negative thoughts the moment they arise and choosing whether to accept them or reject them. And here's the key. You can't control whether a negative thought enters your conscious mind. Thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. But you can control whether you accept that thought and give it power, or whether you reject it and substitute something better. This is not about fighting your thoughts. What you resist persists. If you try to force a negative thought out of your mind, you're actually giving it more energy and attention. Instead, you substitute. The moment you recognize a negative thought, you immediately replace it with its opposite. Fear arises? Substitute faith. Lack appears? Substitute abundance. Sickness suggests itself. Substitute health. Don't fight. Don't struggle. Don't judge yourself for having the negative thought. Just calmly and immediately substitute the opposite. It's like this. If you're listening to a radio station you don't like, you don't sit there trying to fight the music or force it to stop. You simply change the channel. Same with your thoughts. Negative thought? Change the channel. Immediately tune into its opposite. This takes practice. At first, you'll forget. You'll let negative thoughts run wild for hours before you remember to be the watchman. That's okay. The moment you remember, you return to your post. Gradually, you'll catch the negative thoughts faster and faster. Eventually, you'll catch them the moment they arise. And finally, they'll arise less and less frequently because you've starved them of attention and energy. Here's what I want you to understand. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. You are the watchman. And that means you have power over them. They're not the master. You are. But you have to claim that power. You have to actively stand guard. Now let me teach you something that's going to change how you approach your life. It's called the law of reversibility. This is one of my favorite principles because it gives you so much practical power. Here's the law. If an external state produces an internal feeling, Then deliberately creating that internal feeling will produce the external state. Let me explain what that means. If you receive a large sum of money, you feel abundant and joyful, right? The external state having money produces an internal feeling of abundance and joy. The law of reversibility says that if you deliberately create that internal feeling of abundance and joy first, it will produce the external state of receiving money. If you fall in love, you walk differently, talk differently, smile more, have more energy. The external state being in love produces an internal state joy, lightness, confidence. The law of reversibility says that if you deliberately walk, talk, smile, and act like someone who's in love, you'll attract love. If you achieve a great success, you stand taller, you speak with more authority, you feel confident and capable. The external state success produces an internal state confidence. The law of reversibility says that if you deliberately stand tall, speak with authority, and feel confident first, you'll attract success. Do you see how powerful this is? Most people wait for the external circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel better. I'll be happy when I get the money. I'll be confident when I achieve success. I'll feel loved when someone loves me. But that's backwards. That's operating from effect instead of cause. The truth is, you must feel it first. You must generate the internal state first, and then the external circumstances must follow. This is working from cause, not effect. This is using your divine power as a creator, instead of being a passive victim of circumstances. Actors understand this principle. A great actor doesn't wait to feel the emotion the character would feel. They deliberately create that emotion through their body, their voice, their imagination. They become the character from the inside out. And we believe them because they're genuinely experiencing the emotion, even though the circumstances are fake. You must become an actor in your own life. If you want to be wealthy, you must act as if you're wealthy. Not in a fake way, not by spending money you don't have, but by carrying yourself with the inner assurance of wealth. If you want to be healthy, you must move and speak and think like a healthy person. If you want to be loved, you must feel and act like someone who is loved. Your body and mind are connected. When you smile, even if you don't feel happy, your brain releases happiness chemicals. When you stand in a power pose, shoulders back, head high, your body produces confidence hormones. When you breathe slowly and deeply, your nervous system calms down. You can use your body to change your mind, and your mind to change your body. This is the law of reversibility in action. Work from the inside out. Don't wait for permission from external circumstances to feel the way you want to feel. Claim the feeling now. Generate it deliberately, and watch how your external circumstances shift to match your internal state. Now let me talk about imagination, because this is absolutely crucial. Neville Goddard, a great teacher and friend, used to say imagining creates reality. And this is the absolute truth. Your imagination is the most powerful creative tool you possess. It's your direct line to the subconscious mind. It's how you impress feelings upon the subconscious. It's how you create your future. But most people use their imagination against themselves. They imagine their fears more vividly than their dreams. They imagine failure more clearly than success. They imagine worst-case scenarios in living color, while their desires remain vague wishes. If you spent even a fraction of the time imagining your success that you spend imagining your failure, your life would transform overnight. That's how powerful imagination is. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. To the subconscious, if you imagined it with feeling, it happened. This is why traumatic memories can affect people for years. The event might be long past, but the person keeps reimagining it, keeps feeling it, and to the subconscious, it's happening now. It's always now in the subconscious. There is no past or future, only the eternal present moment. So if negative imagination has that much power to harm, positive imagination has equal power to heal and create. But you must use it correctly. You can't just fantasize. You must imagine in a specific way. First, always imagine in the first person. Don't see yourself in the scene like you're watching a movie. Be in the scene. See through your own eyes. Feel the sensations in your own body. This is crucial. If you're imagining yourself receiving a check, don't watch yourself from a distance. Look down at your own hands, holding the check. Feel the paper. See the numbers. Experience it from inside the experience. Second, make it sensory. Engage all your senses. If you're imagining a new home, don't just see it. Feel the texture of the furniture, smell the air, hear the sounds, taste the water from the tap. The more sensory detail, the more real it becomes to your subconscious. Third, keep it simple. Don't try to imagine a complicated hour-long scenario. Create one simple scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. A scene that would only happen if your desire had already manifested. And loop that scene over and over. Repetition impresses the subconscious. For Thomas, the businessman, his scene was simple, making a large deposit at the bank. For Sarah, the woman with cancer, her scene was the doctor saying the cancer was gone. For Mary, the lonely widow, it was laughing with friends. One simple scene, repeated with feeling, until it feels real. And here's what many people don't understand. You don't need to imagine how it happens. You don't need to imagine all the steps between here and there. You only need to imagine the end result, the wish fulfilled. The subconscious will handle the middle. It will create the bridge of incidents. It will arrange the how. Your imagination is a gift from God. It's what separates humans from animals. Animals can't imagine a different future. They live purely in response to their environment. But you can imagine anything. You can see possibilities that don't yet exist. You can create futures that have never been. This is your divine inheritance. This is your creative power. But with great power comes great responsibility. You must discipline your imagination. You must point it in the direction you want to go. You must stop letting it run wild with fears and worries, and instead harness it for good. Now, let me talk about persistence and faith, because this is where many people give up right before their miracle manifests. They do everything right for a day, or 2 days, or 3 days, maybe even a week. They don't see immediate physical results, so they say, "See? I knew it wouldn't work. This is just positive thinking nonsense." And they quit. But my friend, that's like planting a seed, and then digging it up the next day because you don't see a tree yet. Do you understand how absurd that is? When you plant a seed, you don't expect instant manifestation. You understand there's a gestation period. You water it, you give it sunlight, and you trust that under the ground, invisible to your eyes, the seed is germinating. You have faith in the process. The same is true for your desires. When you impress a desire upon your subconscious through feeling and imagination, you've planted a seed in creative consciousness. But there's a gestation period. The seed must germinate. The universe must arrange circumstances. People must be moved into position. Opportunities must be created. None of this is instantaneous. Your 3D physical reality is always the last to change. It lags behind consciousness. First, you change in consciousness. Then, there's a period where nothing seems to be happening. This is the gestation period. This is when most people give up. But if you persist, if you maintain your new consciousness regardless of what you see in the physical world, then finally, the physical reality must catch up and reflect your new consciousness. Think about it this way. If you change the channel on your TV, there's a brief lag before the picture changes. That lag doesn't mean the channel didn't change. The signal has already shifted. The new program is already coming through, but it takes a moment for the image to appear on screen. That moment of lag is not evidence that nothing's happening. It's just part of the process. Most people change the channel, change their consciousness, but then they look at the screen, see the old program still playing for a few more seconds, and they panic. They think it didn't work, so they change back to the old channel. And they keep doing this, back and forth, never staying on the new channel long enough for the picture to fully change. You must persist. You must maintain your new consciousness even when the old circumstances persist. You must keep watering the seed even when you don't see the plant yet. You must keep affirming your good even when the current reality seems to contradict it. This is faith. Not blind faith, but intelligent faith. Faith based on understanding the law. When you truly understand that consciousness creates reality, when you truly understand that what you impress upon your subconscious must manifest, then you can have faith during the gestation period. You can remain unmoved by appearances because you know appearances are temporary and consciousness is permanent. The Bible says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Faith treats the invisible as visible, the future as present, the desired as done. That's the consciousness that creates miracles. But faith without works is dead. You must couple faith with action. Not forced action, not desperate struggle, but inspired action. When you maintain the consciousness of your wish fulfilled, opportunities will present themselves. Intuitions will come. Ideas will drop into your mind. Doors will open. And you must walk through them. Thomas didn't just imagine prosperity and sit on his couch. When the phone call came, he answered it. When the opportunity appeared, he took it. Jennifer didn't just imagine being a doctor and wait for a medical degree to appear in her mailbox. When the professor offered help, she accepted it. When the path revealed itself, she walked it. This is the balance. Faith gives you the consciousness. Action moves you through the doors that consciousness opens. They work together. But here's the key. The action should feel natural, not forced. When you're in the right consciousness, the right actions become obvious and easy. You're not pushing. You're flowing. You're not struggling. You're allowing. If you find yourself struggling and forcing and fighting, that's a sign you're not in the right consciousness yet. Return to your inner work. Return to feeling the wish fulfilled. When the consciousness is right, the path becomes clear and the actions become effortless. Let me also tell you about the danger of impatience. Impatience is actually a form of doubt. When you're impatient, you're saying, I don't really believe this is coming, so I need it to hurry up and get here before I stop believing. That's lack of faith disguised as eagerness. True faith is patient. True faith says, it's already done in consciousness, so I can relax and let it unfold in perfect timing. There's no anxiety, no desperation, no checking every 5 minutes to see if it's here yet. There's peace, there's knowing, there's trust. Think about a woman who's pregnant. She doesn't panic because the baby isn't born the day after conception. She doesn't doubt her pregnancy just because she can't see the baby yet. She knows there's a natural gestation period, and she waits with joyful expectation, preparing for the birth. That's the consciousness you need to hold. You've conceived your miracle. Now let it gestate. Prepare for its birth. Trust the timing. Every great manifestation in history required persistence through the gestation period. Every inventor who created something new had to persist through the time when it existed only in consciousness and not yet in form. Every entrepreneur who built a successful business had to persist through the time when it was just a vision and not yet a reality. Every artist who created a masterpiece had to persist through the time when it was just an idea and not yet on canvas. The darkest hour is just before dawn. When it seems like nothing's happening, that's often when everything is happening at the invisible level. The seed is germinating underground, unseen. The universe is arranging circumstances, unseen. Your subconscious is working, unseen. And then, suddenly, the breakthrough appears. The sprout pushes through the soil, the manifestation appears in your physical world. And it seems sudden, but it wasn't sudden at all. It was the result of everything that was happening unseen during your period of faithful persistence. So I'm telling you now, don't give up 3 days before your miracle. Don't quit 1 week before your breakthrough. Don't abandon your practice just because you don't see immediate results. Plant the seed, water it daily, and trust the process completely. Your miracle is coming. It's already on its way. Just persist a little longer. All right, my dear friend. Now you understand the principles. You've heard the stories. You've learned the lessons. But understanding doesn't create miracles. Application does. So now I'm going to give you the exact 7-night formula. These are the specific practices, one for each night, that will reprogram your subconscious mind for miracles. Get a pen and paper, because you're going to want to write this down. The first night is about cleansing. You cannot plant roses in soil full of weeds. So tonight, before we program the new, we must clear the old. Here's what you're going to do. Before bed, sit comfortably with pen and paper. For 5 minutes, write down every negative belief you have about yourself, your situation, your limitations. Don't hold back. Let it all come out. I'm not good enough. I'm too old. I'm not smart enough. I always fail. God doesn't hear me. I don't deserve this. It's impossible for me. I'm unlucky. I'm broken. Whatever beliefs have been living in your mind, get them out on paper, then read them aloud. Look at them. Acknowledge them. These are the weeds that have been choking your garden. Now say this with conviction. I release these false beliefs. They have no power over me. They are not truth. They are just old programming, and I now delete this programming. I am now free to accept the truth. Then destroy the paper. Burn it safely if you can. If not, tear it into tiny pieces. There's psychological power in the physical destruction. You're signaling to your subconscious that these beliefs are finished, done, gone. After you destroy the paper, go to bed affirming, my mind is now clean and receptive to miracles. I am open to my good. All false beliefs are dissolved. Say this with feeling. Feel the cleanliness, the openness, the freedom. Fall asleep in that feeling. That's night 1. Night 2 is about defining your miracle. You're going to get crystal clear about exactly what miracle you're calling forth. Vagueness produces vague results. Clarity produces miracles. Here's what you do. Take your pen and paper again. Write your miracle in present tense. First person. Not I want, or I hope, or I will have. But I am and I have and I feel. Write it as if it's already accomplished. Be specific. Make it sensory rich. Include how it feels emotionally. For example, if your miracle is financial abundance, don't just write, I am rich. Write something like, I am financially free and abundant. Money flows to me easily from multiple sources. I have more than enough for everything I need and desire. I feel peaceful, grateful, and secure. I am generous and joyful. My bank account reflects my consciousness of abundance. Do you see how specific and feeling-based that is? Write your miracle statement. Make it real. Make it vivid. Make it something that excites you and makes you feel good when you read it. Then read it slowly 3 times. Really let the words sink in. Feel each sentence. Let the feeling build. Then close your eyes and spend 5 minutes imagining your miracle as if it's happening right now. See it. Feel it. Experience it. Engage all your senses. As you drift off to sleep, repeat this simple phrase. This or something better is now mine. This or something better is now mine. Keep repeating it until you fall asleep. The phrase or something better is important because it leaves room for the universe to surprise you with something even better than you imagine. That's night 2. Night 3 is the feeling rehearsal. Tonight we go deeper into feeling. You're going to rehearse the feeling of your miracle so vividly that your subconscious accepts it as current reality. Here's the practice. Get into a relaxed, comfortable position. You can lie in bed or sit in a comfortable chair. Take 10 deep breaths, relaxing more with each one. Feel your body getting heavy and relaxed. Feel your mind becoming calm and receptive. Now, here's the key. Don't imagine the whole journey. Don't imagine all the steps. Instead, imagine one simple scene that implies your miracle has already happened. This is crucial. The scene should be something you would experience after your miracle manifests. If your miracle is healing, maybe the scene is your doctor looking at test results and expressing amazement that you're healthy. If your miracle is abundance, maybe the scene is you depositing a large check at the bank. If your miracle is love, maybe the scene is you holding hands with someone, feeling completely loved and cherished. Make it simple. Make it clear. Make it short, just a few seconds long. Now loop this scene. Play it over and over like a short video clip on repeat. But here's what's important. Feel it. Don't just see it. Feel the emotions. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude, the peace, the excitement. Let the feeling build with each repetition. Loop the scene for 15 minutes. Over and over and over, each time making the feeling stronger and more real. When the feeling becomes so strong that it's almost overwhelming, when you feel tears coming or chills running through your body or your heart swelling with gratitude, that's when you know you've impressed it deeply. At that moment say, "Thank you" 3 times. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let yourself feel profound gratitude, as if it's already done. Then fall asleep in that feeling. Don't let any other thoughts intrude. Just drift off to sleep feeling the reality of your miracle. That's night 3. Night 4 is the reversal technique. By now, if you're honest, doubts and fears have probably come up. That's completely normal. In fact, it's expected. The old consciousness fights back. The old beliefs don't want to die. So tonight we're going to use the law of reversal to transform them. Here's what you do. Write down any doubts or fears that have arisen during the past 3 days. Maybe you're thinking, "This is stupid, it's not working." Or, "Who am I kidding? This won't work for me." Or, "It's been 3 days and nothing's changed." Or, "I feel like a fool." Write them all down. Now for each doubt or fear, write the exact opposite. Reverse it completely. "This is stupid" becomes, "This is the wisest thing I've ever done." "It's not working" becomes, "It's working perfectly right now at the invisible level." "Nothing's changed" becomes, "Everything is changing." "I am changing. My consciousness is transforming." "I feel like a fool" becomes, "I am courageously claiming my divine power." Write all the reversals. Then stand up. This is important. Stand up. Stand tall with your shoulders back, your chest open, your chin up. This is called a power pose, and it actually changes your brain chemistry. It produces confidence hormones. Now, in this powerful physical stance, read your reversals aloud, with conviction. Don't mumble. Don't read them half-heartedly. Declare them. Proclaim them. Say them like you mean them. Do this for 5 minutes. You're not trying to convince yourself, you're training yourself. You're creating new neural pathways. You're showing your subconscious a new possibility. After 5 minutes of declarations in your power pose, go to bed affirming, "All doubts are dissolved. Only faith remains. I trust the process completely. I am stronger than any doubt." Fall asleep with that sense of strength and conviction. That's night 4. Night 5 is living as if. Tonight and throughout tomorrow you're going to act as if your miracle has already happened. This is powerful, my friend. When you act as if, the universe must respond as if. Here's the practice. Tonight, review your miracle statement from night 2. Read it again. Feel it again. Now ask yourself this question. If this were already true, how would I behave? How would I walk? How would I talk? How would I spend my time? How would I treat others? How would I carry myself? What would I do differently? Write down at least 5 specific behaviors. Be concrete. If your miracle is financial abundance, maybe you'd walk with more confidence, you'd be generous with tips, you'd look at beautiful things without the thought, "I can't afford that." You'd speak about money with ease rather than stress. If your miracle is healing, maybe you'd move your body with gratitude, you'd eat nourishing food with intention, you'd talk about your health in positive terms. If your miracle is love, maybe you'd smile more, you'd be more open to people, you'd take care of your appearance. Write your 5 behaviors, then tomorrow, all day tomorrow, embody those behaviors. Actually do them. Walk differently, talk differently, act differently. You're not faking it. You're trying on the consciousness of the person who has this miracle. You're rehearsing being that person. And the more you rehearse it, the more you become it. Tomorrow night, before bed, journal about the experience. Write about how it felt to live as if. Note any synchronicities or unusual events that occurred. Note any shifts in how people responded to you. Note any changes in how you felt about yourself. Then go to sleep affirming, I am becoming the person who has this miracle. I am embodying my miracle consciousness. What I practice, I become. That's night 5. Night 6 is the gratitude amplifier. We're nearing the completion of the 7 nights. Tonight is about amplifying the frequency through gratitude. Gratitude is the most powerful prayer there is. It's the highest vibration. Here's the practice. Take your paper and write down 20 things you're grateful for, that you already have. Don't rush through this. Actually spend time feeling grateful for each one. Your health, your family, your home, your food, your abilities, your past successes, your lessons learned, your friends, your mind, your body, the air you breathe, the sun that rises. Really feel it. Let waves of gratitude wash over you. Now, here's where it gets powerful. Write down 10 things you're grateful for from your miracle, as if it's already happened. Write them in present tense. I am so grateful that I am financially abundant. Thank you for the miracle of perfect health. I am so grateful that I am deeply loved. Thank you for this incredible opportunity. I am so grateful for this amazing transformation. Write 10 of these. And here's the secret. You must feel genuine gratitude while you write them. Not fake gratitude. Not forced gratitude. Real gratitude as if it's already yours. How do you feel grateful for something that hasn't manifested yet? By understanding that in consciousness, it's already done. In the realm of infinite possibilities, your miracle already exists. You're just allowing it to manifest in form. So you're thanking the universe for something that's already accomplished in the invisible realm and is now making its way to the visible. After writing your 20 plus 10 gratitudes, read them all aloud with feeling. Let yourself really feel the gratitude. Then spend 10 minutes in meditation, with your eyes closed, just feeling waves of gratitude. Don't think about anything specific. Just feel grateful. Feel blessed. Feel fortunate. Feel abundant. And every time a strong wave of gratitude comes, say, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Just let the gratitude flow through you. Fall asleep saying, I am grateful for miracles. I am grateful for my miracle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let gratitude be your last conscious thought. That's night 6. Night 7 is surrender and release. Tonight is the final night, and it's the most important in some ways. Tonight, you're going to release your miracle to the universe. You're going to let go. Here's what many people don't understand. Attachment and desperation block manifestation. When you're constantly checking, constantly worrying, constantly trying to force it, you're actually telling the universe, I don't believe it's coming, so I have to control it. That energy of control and desperation repels your good. Letting go shows true faith. Letting go creates space for the miracle to materialize. So tonight, here's the practice. Review everything you've done over the past 6 nights. Acknowledge the work you've put in. Acknowledge the shifts you've experienced. Acknowledge the new consciousness you've built. Feel good about it. You've done something powerful. Now take your written miracle statement from night 2. Read it one final time. Really feel it. Let it be real for these few moments. Then say aloud, I have planted the seed of this miracle in the infinite creative consciousness within me. I have watered it with feeling. I have nourished it with faith. The seed is planted. The work is done. I now release this miracle to the infinite intelligence that knows exactly how and when to bring it into manifestation. I trust completely. I let go completely. I surrender the how and the when. It is done. It is already done in consciousness, and I know with absolute certainty that it must manifest in form. I release it now, then put the paper away somewhere safe. Don't keep reading it every day. Don't keep obsessing over it. You've placed your order. Now let the kitchen prepare it. From tomorrow forward, live in faith, not in seeking. Live with the inner knowing that your miracle is on its way. Not hoping, not wishing, knowing. Go to bed tonight in complete peace. Feel the peace of knowing it's done. Feel the relief of letting go. Fall asleep saying, it is done. I trust. I release. Thank you. That's night 7. Now, after your 7 nights, you don't stop. You maintain. Here's your daily practice moving forward. Every morning, the moment you wake up, before you check your phone, before you engage with the world, spend just 5 minutes feeling your miracle is real. Reconnect with the feeling. Affirm it silently or aloud. This is the day miracles unfold. I am living in my miracle consciousness. All is well. Just 5 minutes to set your consciousness for the day. Throughout the day, be the watchman at the gate. Monitor your thoughts. When negative thoughts arise about your situation, immediately substitute the opposite. Don't let the old consciousness reassert itself. You've built a new consciousness. Now protect it, and look for evidence of your miracle. You'll start seeing signs. You'll start experiencing synchronicities. You'll start noticing things shifting. Acknowledge them. Say, yes, it's happening. Thank you. Every evening, 10 minutes before sleep, review your day for evidence of progress. Even if it seems like nothing changed externally, something changed internally. And that's what matters. Spend 5 minutes in gratitude for everything good that happened. Then affirm your miracle one more time, and fall asleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This becomes your new way of being. This becomes your new habit. This becomes who you are. And here's what I promise you. If you do this faithfully, miracles will become natural in your life. Not just one miracle, but a pattern of miracles. Because you'll have learned the secret. You'll have learned how to work with the infinite creative power within you. You'll have learned how to be a conscious creator rather than an unconscious victim. My dear friend, we've come to the end of our time together tonight, but this is really just your beginning. You now have in your hands, or rather, in your mind, the same formula that has created miracles for thousands of people throughout the decades I've been teaching this. You've heard the stories. You understand the principles. You have the 7-night practice. The question now is, will you do it? You see, I can give you the most powerful formula in the world, but if you don't apply it, it's worthless. It's like having a recipe for the most delicious meal but never cooking it. You'll stay hungry. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Understanding is not transformation. Applied understanding is transformation. So tonight, I want you to make a decision. Not a wish, not a hope, a decision. Decide right now that for the next 7 nights, you will commit fully to this practice. No half measures. No, I'll try. No, maybe. A firm, definite decision. I will do this. I will follow through. I will give it my full effort and attention. 7 nights. That's all I'm asking. Can you commit to that? Because here's what I know. If you truly commit to 7 nights of faithful practice, your consciousness will shift. And when your consciousness shifts, your entire world must shift with it. It's a law. It's as reliable as the law of gravity. You cannot change consciousness without changing circumstances. It's impossible. The outer world is a mirror of the inner world. Change the inner, and the outer must follow. Now, I want you to repeat an affirmation with me. Whether you say it aloud or in your heart, say it with conviction. Say it with feeling. Say it like you mean it. Here we go. I am a channel of divine power. The infinite intelligence that created the universe lives in me, breathes through me, and acts through me. I am not separate from God. I am an expression of God. I now accept my miracle. I claim it as mine. I feel it, I believe it, I know it is done. I release all doubt, all fear, all limitation. Those old beliefs have no power over me. I am free. I am powerful. I am worthy. I am loved. And miracles are my natural inheritance. This is not arrogance. This is truth. I am a divine being having a human experience, and I now claim my divine power. This miracle, or something even better, is now manifesting in my life. The seed is planted. The work is done. It is finished. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. Feel those words. Don't just say them mechanically. Feel the truth of them resonating in your bones. You are powerful. You are connected to infinite source. You are worthy of miracles. Not because of anything you've done or haven't done, but because of what you are. You are an individualized expression of the infinite, the same creative power that hung the stars in the sky, that makes flowers bloom, that turns acorns into oak trees. That power is in you right now. At this very moment. It's always been there. It will always be there. You just need to learn to use it. And that's what I've taught you tonight. Remember this always. You are not separate from God. You never have been, and you never will be. Separation is an illusion. You are one with the infinite. You are an outlet for divine power. You are a channel for miracles. When you truly understand this, when you truly feel this, everything changes. The consciousness of separation creates struggle. The consciousness of oneness creates miracles. You don't have to beg God for anything. You don't have to earn God's favor. You don't have to prove your worthiness. You already are worthy. You already are loved. You already are connected to all the power in the universe. You just have to accept it. Claim it. Use it. 7 nights. That's all I'm asking. 7 nights of faithful practice. 7 nights of planting seeds in your subconscious mind. 7 nights of feeling your miracle is real, and then watch what happens. Watch how the universe conspires on your behalf. Watch how doors open that you didn't even know existed. Watch how people appear to help you. Watch how opportunities materialize. Watch how your miracle unfolds in ways you never could have orchestrated with your limited conscious mind. And when it does, and my dear friend, it will, I want you to share your testimony. I want you to tell others about it. Not to brag, not to show off, but to inspire, because your miracle will give someone else hope. Your miracle will prove to someone else that it's possible. Your miracle will encourage someone else to begin their own 7 nights. And that's how we change the world, one miracle at a time, one person at a time, one consciousness at a time. If this teaching resonated with you, if you feel that spark of possibility in your chest right now, if something in you is saying, yes, this is truth, then I want you to do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the other teachings I'll be sharing. These principles of mind are the most important things you could ever learn. They're not just theory. They're practical, applicable, life-changing truths. So stay connected, keep learning, keep growing, and click that like button. Not for me, but so that this message can reach others who need to hear it. The algorithm will show this video to more people if you engage with it. So if you believe this message can help someone, hit that like button. Share it with someone who's struggling, someone who's lost hope, someone who needs to know that miracles are possible. And please, leave a comment below telling me what miracle you're claiming in your 7 nights. I want to know. I read every single comment, and I'm genuinely cheering for you. Tell me what you're calling forth. Write it out in present tense. I am claiming the miracle of. Put it out there into the universe. Declare it publicly. There's power in declaration. And when your miracle manifests, not if, but when, come back and share your testimony. Tell us what happened. Inspire others with your story. Remember, within you right now is the solution to every problem, the answer to every question, the fulfillment of every desire. You are never alone. You are never without resources. You are never powerless. You are an individualized expression of infinite intelligence, infinite power, infinite love. Everything you need is already within you. You just need to tap into it. You just need to learn the language of your subconscious mind. You just need to align your consciousness with your desires. And that's what these 7 nights will do. They will align your consciousness with your miracle. They will reprogram your subconscious mind for success, for abundance, for health, for love, for joy, for whatever your heart truly desires. 7 nights to change your life. 7 nights to transform your consciousness. 7 nights to manifest your miracle. Now go, my dear friend. Don't wait. Don't put this off. Start tonight. Tonight is night 1. Do the cleansing practice. Write down those old beliefs and burn them. Free yourself from the past. Open yourself to the new. Begin your 7 nights right now, tonight, as soon as this video ends. And as you do, Know that I am with you in spirit. Know that I believe in you. Know that I know your miracle is already done in consciousness and is now making its way to you in form. I see you healed. I see you abundant. I see you joyful. I see you living your miracle. And because I see it, it helps create an atmosphere that makes it easier for you to see it too. Go now, with my blessing. Go with faith. Go with power. Go with the absolute knowing that your miracle is on its way. Prepare to receive it. Expect it. Know it's coming. And when it arrives, remember, you didn't get lucky. You didn't receive special favor. You simply learned to use the divine power that was always yours. You learned the secret. You applied the formula. You became a conscious creator. God bless you, my dear friend. I believe in you. The universe believes in you. The infinite intelligence within you believes in you. Now it's time for you to believe in you. 7 nights. Starting tonight. Your miracle awaits. Miracles are yours now. Miracles are your natural inheritance. Miracles are not the exception. They are the rule when you understand and apply these principles. You are a miracle. You are surrounded by miracles. You are capable of miracles. Now go claim yours. And so it is. Amen.